Alright guys, now that I have the camera set up near the face piece, I can show off all the little details of the M53 mask and discuss which details I like and do not like, and all the little features and so on. But if you haven't seen the first review already, I would go ahead and check that out first, and if you haven't seen the unboxing, I would check that out as well, because there's certain details that I haven't discussed in the reviews that I did during the unboxing. So without further ado, let's get into the details of the M53 face piece and the various features of why I do and do not like it. So, starting off with my least favorite feature, the hood. The hood is made out of a Gore Chempack material, which is a selectively permeable barrier, which allows body heat and moisture to evaporate from the inside out, but it does not allow CBRN agents to penetrate the material. All good and well, but the overall design of the hood is what I find lacking. For one thing, the secondary skin, which is an integral part of the hood, is a bit finicky to install because you need to undo the drinking system, basically loop the hood, the drinking straw through the actual opening on the bottom of the hood first and pull the rest of it on, which isn't too far-fetched from usual secondary skins, like say with the M45 mask, which you would need to undo the outlet valve cover and the drinking tube as well. So that's not uncommon to see, but on the M53 it's a bit of a hassle for what the hood is worth. For one thing, the secondary skin does not make a perfect seal around the opening of the eyepiece, because as you can see, it just ever so slightly falls short of the top of the bridge of the nose, and it would really be worth extending this up so it sits underneath the outsert. But as you can see how they have it here, they have a little bit of gap of material to where the any chemical agents or any liquid agents like blister agents would sit on the face piece, and it could potentially drip down in between the secondary skin and the face piece itself, which isn't a concern that it would penetrate the face piece, being made out of a butyl and silicone mixture, which is rated for all CBRN agents and specific toxic industrial chemicals. But the main concern is that if you were deconning the face piece, any liquid agents that could potentially get in between here would just stay there, and you would need to remove the entire hood in order to decontaminate it, which is kind of a problem because obviously it is kind of difficult and fiddly to install this hood, not only with the drinking tube assembly, but also there is an internal strap, a retainer strap for the top of the hood, which I'll get into in a moment because that's probably the least favorite feature about this. So it just makes it overall not worth it. The underarm straps are another cause of concern, but not as big. The main complaints I have about the underarm straps is that they are fucking big. When they are fully extended, you have at least 2 or 3 feet of webbing material to go underneath your arms. And the idea behind this is that you could simply just don it over your equipment without having to undo the buckles and basically cinch it up that way. But once they're all tightened down, you have a lot of real estate of webbing that just flops around and potentially snags on things, and it's just not a pleasant thing to deal with. So if you're not accustomed to tucking it into whatever gear or clothing or plate carrier you're wearing, it's kind of a hassle, and I would just overall say that the hood is a very redundant feature and only good if you're wearing it with a suit that does not have an integral hood on its own, such as the Blower XRT ensemble, which I have, which also is designed specifically for the Avon series masks, and it is also any Tychem or Tyvek style civilian suits that you could get your hands on will also be compatible with this. Just, it's better to get a suit that has a integral hood to it, like a JS List or a Tyvek suit. So, hood, entirely redundant, you don't really need it. It looks cool and it's nice and all that, but it's not the greatest in design. Another complaint I have, again, just a minor complaint, is with these outsert tabs. And if I can get the camera to focus on those, I'll show those off for you. Just one moment. There we go. So the main complaint I have about the outsert tabs is they're a little bit fiddly to install as well. Again, not the most difficult when compared with the standard M40 or M17 style, where you loop or fold the rubber apron back around the outsert and then, fold it over the lens. But I just find that these tabs leave a little bit more to be desired, because as you can see, they sort of pull the bridges of the rubber back a bit once they're installed. They really could do with being a bit extended just by a hair of an inch so they don't do this and cause permanent set in the future. And not only that, but because there's mold flashes around the opening on the other side, it makes these outserts difficult to install and just very fiddly to work with. So not really a big complaint, and once you have the outsert installed, you just kind of leave it on there, but, it's just irritating to deal with. Another complaint I have about this mask is its head harness. But before I actually get into that, let me show off the markings on the hood, because I don't believe I did that in the previous review already, so I will show off the markings on the hood there. You can see that it is marked protective hood, right-handed medium. That's another problem with these hoods. They're proprietary to the face piece size. But again, with the older M45 mask, you had hoods that were proprietary to facepiece sizes because they had integral secondary skins. But with the M53, it's even worse because you not only have integral mask sizes for the hoods, but you also have left and right-handed canister ports, and you also have a dual port version for the dual port M53. And it's just kind of a stupid idea. It's like, I thought we got away from the whole left-handed, right-handed variants with the M9, but no, we're kind of going back to it, and really, it just should have been dual port from the beginning. But with the demands of US SOCOM, I can see why they did it that way, because they just wanted to have a flat surface with no extra fluff that would integrate with the stock of your weapon when shouldering it. But obviously, I would say to shoot for a dual port is better, I guess, just so you have less options when it comes to the protective hood. So that's another thing to keep in mind. If you're getting this mask, avoid the hood just for the purpose of the hoods need to be proprietary to not only the facepiece size, but the canister stem position. So, without further ado, let's get onto the harness itself, which is another point of contestment to the design. So, the M53 harness consists of a 6-point elastic, well, technically 4-point elastic, with the top two being a non-elasticated Velcro, which works all well and good, but the problem with the M53 harness is most of these straps are too short. They don't have a wider range of adjustment, and not only that, but the top straps, the actual straps themselves, are hook Velcro, which doesn't sound too big of a problem, but when you have the interior material of the Gore Kempak hood literally getting snagged on this, it can be kind of irritating. You don't want the hood material starting to fray up, because I could see that could potentially cause some protective issues. Probably not, but it's just not a pretty picture. And so what I've done is I've cut out strips of Velcro with the loop side to basically paste over these straps so they don't cause any interference issues with the hood. And I apologize if my big fat head is casting a shadow over everything. So with the M50 harness, this strap material is essentially reversed, where the straps themselves are the fuzzy loop side of the Velcro, and these little retainer flaps here are actually the hook side. So there's no hook Velcro exposed to snag on any hoods. So, and again, plus they're longer, so that's another feature why you want to get an M50 style harness. And another issue I have is with the elastic itself. So on older masks, the elastic was this nice 7/8 inch action elastic, which was very broad, very thin, very stretchy, and it did what it was supposed to. With the M50 and M53 style harnesses, they use this ever so slightly thicker elastic, which, you know, it's more durable, more rugged, and it doesn't do this weird curling issue, which you can sort of see on here. That's the problem with this thinner elastic, is it tends to curl over time. This doesn't really do that, but the biggest problem is that it's not as easy to adjust. With the older style of elastic, once you lifted these buckle tabs, basically the tension of the harness would cause it to come undone instantly. This is not the case with the M50 series masks. With this elastic, you literally have to either grab each individual strap while lifting the tab to loosen it, or you could just be a dumbass and rip the mask off. Even though you're lifting the tabs, the harness doesn't detension, and it just stretches all the way out as you pull the mask over your head, which is not a good design feature. You don't want to do that. It wears the harnesses out faster. And shame on Avon for making a 5-pack of M50 harnesses $142 MSRP. So if you have the ability to replace your harness with an M50 harness, because that's my biggest complaint about this. And I actually, now that I recall, Raptor, and again I'll link, you can check out his channel on the featured channels section of my channel. Say channel 50 million times. He actually replaced his harness with an M50 harness. And before I show off the interior features, I would like to point note of this stupid little hood retention strap. I hate this thing so much because the first day I got it, the first 2 times I've undone this and pulled it through these 2 tabs to align it with the mask, the rubber caught on the edge of the Velcro and started to peel it away from the threads. It literally de-stitched itself trying to undo it. And so that is another feature why you're going to want to either leave the hood installed or avoid it entirely, is because this thing will come undone like a motherfucker. And I had to actually re-sew it back in with my sewing machine. And let me tell you, that was not an easy task to do. I had to stitch it at least 7 or 10 different times before I was happy with it. And just to make sure it didn't fuck itself up again, if you can notice there, I did some zigzag stitches along the edges where it runs along these 2 tabs, so it'll never de-stitch itself again. So that being said, I will kind of show you how to invert the harnesses properly, because most people will try and do it like this, both straps at once. It doesn't really work. Do it 1 strap at a time like me. So do 1 strap over the top, do the other strap here, and that will be much easier on you, just doing it 1 strap at a time. And then I will show off that will allow you to invert the harness, and I'll get into the interior here. So, one thing I do like is that the nose cups are fully interchangeable. You can, I fit a medium-sized face piece, but not a medium-sized nose cup, and I actually need a large, and I'm going to be talking with my supplier to get a large, and I'll probably do a nose cup changing video whenever I do get a hold of one, and so that is the main feature of the M53 nose cups, is they are fully interchangeable. So that's a good feature. The drinking tube, most people have complained about, there's no barb. Why is there no barb on this drinking system when it's so common on older masks? Well, the feature is that obviously the M53 has a drinking lever to move the drinking tube towards your face piece, but with older masks that have a drinking lever, such as the M17, which simply goes in and out, or even the S10, or an FM12, which simply goes back and forth, the FM53 and M53 do a little bit of both. And keep in mind, most masks don't even have that feature. Most masks don't even have a drinking lever. They just stay in place, and you're supposed to reach out with your lips all awkwardly and grip it with your teeth, which is why those barbs are there in case the inner straw is too long and you're supposed to cut it to your size. This, you don't need to do that, because as you can see, when you move the lever, it just does a little loop-to-loop right into your mouth, and you can position it anywhere you need it to be the perfect length in your mouth. That's a good feature. That's a good design right there. I absolutely love that. Other things to point out that I didn't really show off good in the last review is the internal mic port down there. You have the little bump where the drinking adapter is stored under, and obviously the drinking tube there. And then this orange valve here, I should point out, those are experimental valves. The seller that I got this from pointed out that these orange valves are mostly present on pre-2008 contract M53s, which would put them in experimental phase in design, but I guess a lot of them are recycled on some of these later M53s, and I can actually show off my mold mark stamp. You just peel back the right side of the peripheral seal and look under the lens there, and as you can see, Avon, or Avo, 2014, made in February of that year. So it was actually made this month in 2014. So with some of the later production masks, they simply just recycled a lot of experimental parts. So inverting the harness again, I don't know why I undid the inversion, but I can also demonstrate the VREU, because that valve you're seeing right there is actually the damper, which allows for positive pressure use. So right now it's in APR mode, where there is a considerable gap for air to exhale out of, but when I rotate it counterclockwise, and it would be clockwise when you're actually outside the mask, when you rotate it, it compresses and it creates a decent bit of pressure, which will allow you to use an SCBA or PAPR with the mask. That's really all there is to see. I'll show off a couple other features really quick. For instance, underneath by the temples, there are these two, if I could show those off, that would be great. I don't know if I can here. Hold on, here we go. That little block right there, if you could see that right where my thumb is, this little block right there, that's for the optical inserts. On this side here, you can see the deflector, or hopefully you can, it's rather dark, which you could either position down towards the center of the nose cup, like I like to do it, or have it just aimed directly up at the lens. On the very bottom of the nose cup here, you have this little sweat box. You can't really see it all that well, but that little box down there has a slit in it, and any moisture that or any condensate from your exhaled breath will collect in that little box and drain into the bottom of the face piece. So that's a little bit of a disadvantage, is that you can't just blow all the moisture out the outlet valve, whereas other masks have the outlet valve positioned on the bottom. Because the M53 has it so high up on the face piece, it kind of needs that feature to collect moisture. And then you can also, again, see that nice internal waffling pattern for preventing collapse of the face piece while being worn. And then that's really all there is to see on the interior. Would I recommend this mask? It depends on what you're really wanting, because if you are a super tactical LARPerator type of guy like myself, it has a lot of features that are great, like comms integration, VPU, all that good shit. But if you're just you're not a kit builder and you just want something simple that does, affords you a high degree of protection, get an Avon C50 or an FM12. That does basically, I would say the C50 just in case you want comms integration, but you don't need that extra weapon sighting capability. The C50 is probably going to be the king here, but obviously an older mask like the FM12 or even masks like the M95 would be good as well, but this mask would only be good if you're a really hardcore operator and you basically just want all those nice features, because this was specifically engineered to the needs of US SOCOM to improve the capabilities of US warfighters and their performance on the battlefield. So it's basically the Gucciest of the Gucci masks out there. Just, you know, with the only exception being the Airboss LBM, which in my opinion is better as more of the best general service mask. So if you want to spend a lot of money for something good, but you don't need comms integration and SOCOM goodness, and you don't need that VREU valve assembly, you don't tend to switch to PAPR or SCBA mode, get an Airboss LBM. Otherwise, if you want comms, if you want VREU, get an M53. That's really all I have to say on the matter. If you enjoyed the video, and if you have any comments, questions, corrections, or concerns, drop a comment down in the comments below. I'm Duke with 3D, and I will see you all later with hopefully more reviews of this mask with additional accessories in the future.